And what I think what's happening is that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, it's one of the few times in history where the individual kind of front run the industry, if you will, and the hedge funds. And personally, I think that Gensler's attack on crypto is to allow the hedge funds and the Wall Streeters to come in, crash the market. They come in and then
by the way,
promote it.
they do that with the stock market.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, it is Monday. It is technically a holiday. It is Juneteenth over here in the US, so we don't have stocks trading. Bitcoin obviously trades 24/7, and Bitcoin actually, we had fallen down. You can see right here, all the way down to about 24,700, and now Bitcoin is sitting at the mid $26,000 range. So the big news that came out was obviously Blackrock. Now, on today's episode, we also find out that Fidelity is rumored to be filing a Bitcoin spot ETF, and they might even be bidding for Grayscale. Now, this has definitely separated a lot of the camps of opinions, some saying that, you know, this could be the greatest thing ever for crypto, and then on the flip side, a lot of people freaking out saying this is going to put a lot of power into the hands of the few. Well, I do want to talk about all that today, let you guys know today's video is going to be really quick. I have a lot of stuff I'm doing later, but I wanted to get you an update, and also just stick around to the end. One of the craziest stories I've heard, not 100% crypto related, but I think you can hear where I'm coming from. So without further ado, if you want to get subscribed, that sounds good to me. Let's dive in. Let's have a look at what is going on right now, and let's start with the Bitcoin chart. Now, what's crazy is if we actually have a look at the chart right here, you could see that we did actually have a perfect retest of this upward sloping trend, and we find ourselves back above the $25,300 level. So this is basically what I was looking for. This is what I was hoping would happen, that we would have a nice bounce. Now, the problem is we still do have, as you can see right here, we do still have that lower high structure, right? But we could also be forming, you know, some kind of a flag looking for a breakout at some point. Obviously, we are below this upward sloping parallel channel, so that, you know, isn't really great. But the better thing really is that we are above our $25,300 level. And on top of that, even though, yes, we did dip down into the EMA ribbon, if we actually zoom in right here, look at this. The fact that we ended up closing above, we actually were able to keep that upward slope right here, right? So we thought we were afraid we were starting to lose it maybe, but no, we actually still have that curve to the upside. So this is still showing me that the momentum is to the upside potentially. And if we do get a confirmation on this EMA ribbon flipping, that could be very, very bullish for Bitcoin. So what is the one thing still that we don't have? Well, you know, everything else is looking relatively good. I don't like the fact that we keep having the lower highs. Obviously, we know that there is a lack of institutional interest right now. That's just a fact. It's just because of the uncertainty. But really, we want to get back above this right here. And you can see that the 200 weekly, again, I know you guys have talked about this time and time again, but you can see back here, you know, support, 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 and then over here it became resistance, resistance, right? So we really don't want to fall back below it. We want to stay above, and that level is 26,515. Now, if we do break above that and close above it, then I would be very bullish because we have a lot of other indicators that are also showing us some things. Again, we are in this downward sloping trend. I don't like that. But of course, we did have this major retest on the downslope here, right? Massive buying opportunity. So do we have to potentially come down here and revisit the $21,000 area? Again, it's possible, but a lot does have to depend on really what goes on. I mean, if this ETF potentially gets approved, it could be massive. Now, I know some people out there are saying, well, it's probably just a conspiracy, or like, yeah, that everybody's going to get excited and then the ETF's going to come out and they're just going to dump everything if it gets approved. I'm actually going to speak out to why that may not be the case, but you can see right here that we are on the daily. We actually lost that green dot, so it looks like that was a fake out. I talked about we had a green dot that showed up. I guess by the end of the day, we did not get that confirmation on it, but again, over on the weekly, we still do have not necessarily full-on confirmation. Full-on confirmation would be if the guppy went back into the green, but the fact that we did have these three blues switching into the red, back into the neutral, and, you know, basically, I mean, not saying that history has to exactly repeat, but that's exactly what we did back here, right? We had the neutral, we came into the bear market, we had three blues and a red, we came out, and at that point, Bitcoin was around $300, and yes, my friends, we ended up going all the way up to about 20K. So, unless you want to count this little mid rally right here. So we're doing something exactly the same right here. Again, guys, if you do want to learn how to trade, make sure you check out the tutorials popping up above. $56,000 in bonuses. Take advantage if you want. There's decentralized options. Obviously, don't trade outside of your jurisdiction. You guys know the drill. But I do want to just point out something here. And again, we are still on this major upwards trend. So until we break this macro trend, I'm not that scared. But looking at the Bitcoin monthly absorption rates, Glassnode points out that entities with a balance under 100 Bitcoin are increasing their holdings meaningfully, absorbing an equivalent to about 254% of mined supply over the last month. So this is obviously showing that there is a lot of demand, a lot of demand specifically from retail, not as much necessarily from the institutions right now, but again, we know why that is. Now, just remember that today the stock market is closed, and the stock market did, well, you could argue, kind of got rejected right at this upward sloping trend. So if stocks start to trend down, is that going to affect Bitcoin? Well, obviously, it still is rough right now for crypto, right? We have the SEC and Binance having a temporary deal. So basically, as long as main Binance doesn't have access, the employees don't have access to the US, then I guess we're good for now. But then they also canceled their registration in the UK amid regulatory scrutiny. So, and they deregistered with the FCA, but it didn't have an operational impact as they never technically did business in the UK. But this brings me to the big news of the day, which is from Andrew. Update: digital assets and Fidelity are about to make a seismic move into crypto via both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Sources expect Fidelity to either make a bid for Grayscale or quickly launch their own spot Bitcoin ETF. One or both are coming soon. BlackRock and Fidelity will own the crypto space in the US. Now, I have heard about whether or not this is some massive plan and it was all designed, that they were in bed. Sam Bankman-Fried just got 5 charges dropped off of him, right? So is it some kind of was it a conspiracy to sort of push out Coinbase, push out all these other guys, and now it's just going to be the big guys and they're going to control everything? Who knows? But John E. Deaton did have an opinion on what could be happening.
And what I think what's happening is that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is one of the few times in history where the individual kind of front run the industry, if you will, in the hedge funds. And personally, I think the Gensler's attack on crypto is to allow the hedge funds and the Wall Streeters to come in, crash the market. They come in and then,
by the way,
promote
they
it.
do that with the stock market.
So Eric Belchunas was over talking with Luke Martin, and this is a half-hour interview. I was thinking about maybe breaking up some of these clips for smaller, if not, just go check out Luke Martin's channel. And Eric Belchunas was just talking about the impact and significance of this Bitcoin ETF. And, there are a lot of people that do think like, oh, if it does get passed, who knows if it will. Maybe this is the rare 1% of times that BlackRock will not get their ETF passed. But he says that this will be major. This will give the green light for institutions. And although, it might go against the libertarian sort of, own your own keys, be your own bank type of thing, at the end of the day, he does point out that to all those saying that BlackRock filing is not an ETF, do you consider gold to be an ETF? Well, this is the same thing. Lots of structure under ETF umbrella, nothing like GBTC. This is the real deal. And remember, we were having that discussion about whether or not it was a trust or not. But really, the most important part is that they hold the underlying physical asset. Now, I just want to point this out. This was from News BTC, and they basically were like, what would happen to Bitcoin if it did what happened when gold had their launch? So they have the first SPDR Gold Trust ETF GLD, which was listed on the NASDAQ November 15th of 2014. You can see right here, they show this is exactly when it got launched. Now, of course, you can see it did go sideways, right? It kind of went sideways a little bit, so it wasn't like immediate. It wasn't like all of a sudden everything just pumped to the moon. But you could see right here, they said that it was what this did was it allowed you to invest in gold without having to necessarily have a physical gold bar, coin, certificate, shares, or shares of gold mining companies, right? So the ETF made investing in precious metals a no-brainer and eliminated the problems of shipping and vaults. The same revolution could be coming to Bitcoin. Retail investors could hold Bitcoin long-term through the ETF without worrying about custody and private keys. And the revolution in gold also made itself felt in the price. The price of gold was below $450 an ounce when they launched right here. And obviously we ended up going all the way up to, 1,920. So was it just timing? Was it a coincidence? Will that not actually happen to Bitcoin? Well, we'll have to see, guys. We'll have to see. So, that's basically that. But Mike Novogratz, he was on the Liz Claman show, and he says BlackRock getting a Bitcoin ETF would be one of the best things that could possibly ever happen in crypto. And he says every night he's hoping and he's praying. So, of course, my friends, there is the centralized aspect to crypto and Bitcoin, the traditional finance aspect, which, if you want it to get to that next level, unfortunately, grandma, grandpa, these bigger hedges, these funds, they're not going to really want to go into a futures specifically, and definitely not go in if there's not regulatory clarity. But if there is that ETF, which has been approved, well, then that does provide the clarity, at least as far as Bitcoin is concerned. Look at this crazy story. The U.S. government sued for allegedly seizing $100 million in cash, gold, and jewelry from citizens without explanation. The U.S. government won't specify why it abruptly seized more than $100 million from people's safety deposit boxes in California, according to a new lawsuit. The nonprofit Institute for Justice says it's seeking to halt forfeiture proceedings for a group of citizens who have seen their assets confiscated by the FBI with little to no explanation. Linda and Reggie Martin want to know why the FBI took their cash along with the contents of hundreds of other people's safety deposit boxes from a finance storage company in Beverly Hills. The company says the agency seized their money without providing any evidence of illegal activity. Here's the craziest part. To date, Linda says that she and her husband have not been charged with a crime, and there is no indication that they will see their money ever again. The FBI took my savings nearly 2 years ago, but has never told me why. It's been a confusing and frustrating process from the day my money was taken. No one should have to go through this. So, again, you have to make your decision. Yes, I do believe that I understand where these people are coming from when they say that the traditional sense of finance, is sort of scary for Bitcoin and crypto because, now, it's just, we don't know, Bitcoin doesn't need that. But then again, at the same point, that's where a lot of this, traditional, less risky sort of money, is going to come from. But at the same time, I just think that if you are in crypto and you are watching this, it's always a good idea to self-custody. Because, this is what happens. You put your money in a bank, look what happens. The banks collapse. You put your jewelry in safety deposit boxes, look what happens, right? They can come and confiscate it. So, yeah, that's just something that I definitely wanted to bring up. And if there ever was just another reason to, hold your keys, hold your coins, be your own bank, well, I'd say that story pretty much sums it up. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think it's somewhere in the middle? A lot of the maxis, they would say we don't need traditional finance, but at the same time, we know that a lot of these institutions are not going to really come in with the uncertainty, especially without a product like a Bitcoin ETF. So with that being said, thank you again for coming back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And if you guys do want to learn how to trade, times like this in the bear market are the best times. Check out these tutorials popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. Hope you have a great start to your week. And of course, peace out.